Hello, Sigma Chi brothers, sweethearts, and guests. Welcome to the first part of a four-part series recognizing military SIGs, hosted by the Sigma Chi Fraternity's Alumni Learning Consortium, which pays tribute to the bonds of brotherhood and military service. I'm your host, Kellen Brown. I'm a recent graduate of DePaul University in Chicago and a member of the Lambda Omega chapter, along with the 2023 International Balfour Award winner. I commissioned into the Army as an active duty military intelligence officer this past June, and I'll be stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington in the coming months. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from a group of remarkable individuals who share a unique connection through their membership in the Sigma Chi fraternity and their dedication to military service. Sigma Chi has a rich history dating back to 1855 and has produced transformational leaders in various fields, including the armed forces. Today, we're going to hear from some of these military Sigma Chi brothers, each with their own inspiring stories of courage, honor, and the values instilled by the fraternity. Throughout today's webinar, we'll explore their journeys from the college campus to the front lines, discussing the impact of their fraternity experience on their military careers and vice versa. I'm joined today by three military SIGs who served in our armed forces. Order of Constantine and semi-century SIG brother, Sergeant First Class, Specialist 5, Len Hicks, Georgia Southwestern, 1971, pledged a local fraternity and later became a charter brother of the Eta Theta chapter of Sigma Chi in 1971. He served in the U.S. Army in Vietnam, at Fort Bragg, and in Germany as part of the Army Security Agency, working as a Criticom operator and legal clerk. After his time in the Army, Brother Hicks worked in construction and real estate as a broker and appraiser. He retired after 29 years with Synovus Corp as a special asset officer. Brother Hicks' service to the fraternity should not go unmentioned. He served as president of the House Corporation at Eta Theta for 25 years, along with being a member of the Gamma Nu House Corporation and Advisory Board. He also supports our undergraduate brothers as a member of the Queester faculty for Balfour Leadership Training Workshop, Virtual Croc Transformational Leader Workshop, and Officer Training Academy, Ritual Peer, and Foundational Leadership Mentor. He is not the only Sigma Chi in his family. Both his son, Chris, and grandson, Patrick, are brothers. Welcome, Brother Hicks.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Brandt, United States Air Force retired, Embry-Riddle, Daytona Beach, 1998. During his time as an undergraduate, he served the fraternity as fundraising chairman, quaestor, and proconsul before going on to serve as vice president of the Embry-Riddle Inter-Fraternity Council before his graduation. Brother Brandt was commissioned into the United States Air Force through ROTC, where he secured a pilot training slot. He spent a year on casual status, where he led a flight of 60 enlisted troops in the flight line maintenance of KC-135s, EC-135s, and CT-43s. Unfortunately, he was medically disqualified at his final flight physical. Brandt was then reassigned and became an engineer at Hill Air Force Base. In 2008, he separated from active duty and became an aviation systems engineer with the MITRE Corporation and transitioned to the Air Force Reserves to support the E-3 Airborne Warning and Control System AWACS aircraft program. In 2016, he transitioned from supporting the E-3 program to support the Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisitions Global Power Directorate at the Pentagon, where he retired as a lieutenant colonel on October 1st, 2023. Congratulations on your retirement, Brother Brandt.
Thank you, Cal.
And lastly, we have military service runs in the family of significant SIG, Technical Sergeant Mark E. Dunning, Hanover, 1983. The legacy of a World War I veteran and the son of a World War II veteran, Dunning started his military service in the U.S. Army Reserve before transitioning to the U.S. Air Force, where he deployed in support of Operation Desert Storm. During his deployment, he served as a tactical information broadcast system operator and helped enforce the UN sanctions against Iraq. Following his tour, Brother Dunning served abroad in Korea before returning stateside to the Washington, D.C. area in 1999. Technical Sergeant Dunning and his team responded to the attack on the Pentagon on September 11, 2001, and prepared an alternate intelligence center in case the Pentagon Alert Center had to evacuate. At his retirement, Dunning was awarded the Defense Meritorious Service Medal after 24 years of military service. He reconnected with Sigma Chi in 2013, 30 years after his college graduation. Since 2017, he has served as the warden for the Benjamin Pyatt Runkle Memorial Monument and was named a significant SIG in 2019. Welcome, brothers, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, brother.
All right, so we're going to get our conversation started. I wanted to start with you, Brother Hicks, and this is kind of a broad question, but I wanted to ask, how did your Sigma Chi experience inspire and impact your military service?
In 1966, when I became a Greek of Sigma Delta Epsilon, which later on became Sigma Chi Eta Theta in 1971, I learned a word called brotherhood that I had not known before then. I had friends in high school, but I never really had a brotherhood. I bonded very quickly with a group of young men who had similar interests, and that was to be better and to strive to be better. And I think that that helped me when I went in the service because it threw me in a melting pot of a lot of different people with different thoughts, different actions. And if I had not had the grounding of the brotherhood from the fraternity, I might not have done as well in the military as I did. Even though in the branch that I was in, we did not make a lot of friends, we did not have a lot of friends. You still worked with people and you had a special bond that even today is still there.
Thanks so much, Len. We're going to move on next to Brother Brant. Same question. How did your Sigma Chi experience inspire and impact your military service?
I got to admit that I actually have to agree with Brother Hicks. I actually went to Embry-Riddle, knew I was going to get an ROTC scholarship, and I was focused on the academics and doing as well as I could in college. Joining a fraternity was the furthest thing from my mind. So I was actually introduced to Sigma Chi through a brother I played club lacrosse with, and took me to the house, met some of the brothers, saw the brotherhood, like Brother Hicks had talked about. But as I learned more through just the interactions the semester leading up to when I actually pledged, and the rush and pledging, the values and virtues that were being taught, I found to be valuable. Really, and I kind of still live by the mantra of different temperaments, talents, and convictions, because it's so true, especially in the military, where you just have people of different backgrounds and different abilities, different passions, and trying to find and align those passions to the job that has to get done. Sigma Chi helped instill that in me. I think I probably would have been a lot more naive and single-minded if it wasn't for Sigma Chi, if it hadn't been for that experience. So it really, I can't say the experience inspired me to join the military, but it was a great, going back to Sigma Chi being a leadership fraternity, it really is. It really teaches a great amount of leadership and how to interact with people of all kinds of different walks of life.
Absolutely. I think it's so interesting how so many of us have shared experiences in terms of, I was the same way when I first started. I was worried about academics. I never planned on joining a fraternity. And so, and I think nowadays I look and I'm like, being a part of the chapter I was in and the brotherhood itself is still a critical part of getting used to being in the military. And it's kind of really given me a leg up, I feel like, and helped so much. So absolutely. And so we're going to move on to Brother Dunning. The same question.
Brother Kellen, congratulations on your International Balfour Award, and thank you for having me here tonight. As you know, many of Sigma Chi's founders served during the Civil War. Their stories of military service and sacrifice inspired me and had a profound impact on my military career. Founder Runkle seriously wounded at the Battle of Shiloh, and Founder Caldwell imprisoned are a few notable examples. Chi Chapter's founder, Samuel Perry Dillon, also served during its Civil War and was seriously wounded, which resulted in the paralysis of his right arm. I wanted to serve honorably like them, and if I needed to sacrifice, so be it. All honor to their names.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brother Dunning, for your response. All right, so we're going to move on to our next question here. We have, how do the leadership skills you gained in the military translate to your current roles within the fraternity? And how has your fraternity experience enhanced your leadership abilities overall? Kind of a two-part question there. We're going to start with Brother Brant.
Great question, Kellen. And it really flows both ways. Some of the experiences I had going through the various professional military education schools that the Air Force sends us through. Actually, I was a colony advisor for a colony that was established at Bentley University back in 2012 and was established as a chapter in 2013. And one of the key things was really knowing when to fight and when to step back and take a pause. The colony was challenged with a Greek advisor who was not particularly helpful, and they were frustrated. I'll put it that way. And sat down with them through some having attended the LTW just that summer before as their colony advisor. Sat down with them and did a strategic planning session to come up with how do we get a strong foothold at Bentley University, and really kind of turned the ship around for the chapter there. And they, by the end of their first year of being installed, they were the largest and the strongest Greek organization on Bentley University, just because they had a plan. They wanted to emphasize Sigma Chi values, and they were bought into that plan. So kudos to those gentlemen for taking the reins and getting the work done. Couldn't be there with them every day, but they really like I said, had that passion, and they saw a goal and they wanted to reach it. So really kind of, not quite sure if I answered both of the questions there in that one example, but that was very prominent memory in my mind as to when sort of the leadership skills learned on both sides of the fence, both in the fraternity and the military, came into play. And as far as helping me, I kind of answered that in the first question, just being able to recognize that people are going to be performing different and trying to align them to their passions. And typically, if you do that, they tend to create their own success, and you don't have to push them or beat on them too hard to get the job done.
Absolutely. I think that's just such a powerful example of, really relates to exactly what we're getting at here. So thank you for sharing that about Bentley. And next, we're going to move on to Brother Dunning.
As Brother Ben pointed out, the military is very big on professional military education. Time management and organization skills, I think, were the plus skills for me. However, I don't always do them well. My volunteer roles within the fraternity keeps me engaged and involved with the fraternity. I lead by example of, volunteering and by giving to the Sigma Chi Foundation or supporting the undergraduate brothers philanthropy events. We can't do the programs we do without the funding.
Absolutely. Yep, of course. I think I don't always do the best with time management either, but the military has definitely helped. So I get where you're coming from. And lastly, we'll go to Brother Hicks.
Yes, I think it's something that probably all of us on here can relate to. The military taught me patience. That is one thing for sure that I came out of the military with, was patience. I also learned a lot about myself as far as the virtues that we practice today, fidelity and courage and wisdom, and the different things that we are striving to live by each day. But I think how it has helped me with the fraternity as a volunteer is first of all, there's no way that you can guide or lead somebody unless you show them a path. And I think that as a volunteer, one of the things I strive to do is show to the undergrads that there is a way to live by virtues. There is a way to have the courage to make the decisions that you as undergraduates need to make every day. And I think that and the leadership chain of command that we had in the military helped me a lot as far as working with chapter advisors and grand prators and headquarters staff and the undergrads and chapter advisory groups, because sometimes it gets so confusing of what you want to say and how you want to go, but you want to make sure that you go about it in the right path. So I think a blend of the military and the structure that the military gave me has helped me give some type of structure to my volunteer service for the undergraduates.
Absolutely. And I think that structure also kind of plays a key role in giving a sense of purpose. And I think, we get that from the military, but especially from the fraternity as well. And I think that's really what you're coming from. We're going to move on to our third question here. We've got, based on your unique perspectives, what advice would you offer for emerging leaders within Sigma Chi undergraduates, whether they be pursuing military careers or not? Either way. We're going to start again with Brother Dunning.
Live your life according to the ritual. 68th Grand Consul Mike Greensburg's perspective on our ritual is the greatest leadership book ever written. I definitely agree with that assessment.
Absolutely, me as well. We're going to move on to Brother Hicks.
Mark, I can't agree with you more about the ritual book. I mean, it is a pathway for all of us to be better. And I think the things that we have had come out lately about we expect more of a Sigma Chi, I think is something that we need to do. And it makes me reflect on, and I hope that each undergraduate, each alumni has a copy of The Man in the Glass, has it posted. I have it posted right above my desk here, and live by that every day. I think even though it does not mention our virtues, it embodies the principles of all of our virtues. And the other thing is to understand that being a Sigma Chi is a lifelong commitment. It's not a 4-year college commitment. It's not a 4-year enlistment commitment. Even retiring from the military, it's longer than all of that. It's a lifelong, and then someday we'll all meet in chapter eternal.
Of course, that's so insightful. Thank you, Brother Hicks. And lastly, we're going to move on to Brother Brandt.
Yeah, I actually, didn't mean for this to all become about the ritual, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, when I stepped out of the fraternity in '98 when I graduated, I didn't really step back in until 2012 when I became a colony advisor. I was asked by Julio Varela, who was the Grand Praetor, or he was Grand Praetor when he was a chapter advisor at Embry-Riddle, but then became the Grand Praetor of the South Florida province. And he approached me because he was the chair of the ritual, or not the ritual, but the expansion committee, their headquarters. And it forced me to get back into it and the ritual. And it really kind of brought back a lot of very positive memories and emotions. You can't say it enough that it itself has a lot of values that we should be living day to day, whether we're alumni or brothers, and it really is a lifetime commitment. That's not something to be taken lightly, and I can't agree more than Brother Hicks and Brother Dunning's expression of that. And I really can't add any more. So, thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brother Brandt. And so for our last question for the night, kind of general, but what message do you have to share with other brothers who have served already on this Veterans Day? And we're going to start with Brother Hicks first.
As we move towards Veterans Day, I'm reminded of something. I do volunteer work with Red Cross. And I was sent as part of a team when we were deploying troops to Iraq and Saudi Arabia and in a different world. And of course, I served in Vietnam, so it was a different time. And that's okay because we change with time. But I found myself talking to the families. And then I would turn and talk to the soldiers deploying and to our veterans that we've got out there, or if you're going to be a veteran, I want you to think about something. As a veteran, when I was serving, there was something to do. I had a mission. I had a task. I knew when to get up. I knew when to go to bed. I knew what I was supposed to do. But the family waiting on me at home, I truly felt, and I still do today, that they had the hardest job of all because their mission was undefined. Their task daily was never the same. So, as a veteran on this Veterans Day, when people thank me for my service, if they're a member of a family of a serviceman, I thank them because I truly feel that they had the hardest task.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Brother Hicks. Next, we're going to move on to Brother Brandt.
Yeah, thanks, Kellen. First and foremost, I mean, there's just three of us here. There's a lot of Sigma Chi veterans, and I'm very honored to represent them as part of this panel tonight. And you know, I guess the message I would take away is if don't discount anything that you did. I know some of the world situation going on now can be very frustrating for some veterans. You know, there is a bigger purpose, and you know, for the time that they served, they made a difference, and to go forward with that. I know there's probably some brother veterans who are maybe struggling with various mental disorders and even physical disorders from their service. I'm very fortunate in that I did not have to suffer any of those, and I don't take that lightly. So I want to thank them and let them know that there are brothers out there. There are strong arms around you, and to just keep on, you know, fighting a good fight, and you know, stay with us and continue to reach out as necessary. And that goes for anybody really that might be having a hard time. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Brother Brandt. And lastly, we have Brother Dunning.
First, I would like to thank you for your service. As Brother Ben pointed out, second, I thank God that my war was short and I wasn't on the front lines. But I understand the physical and mental stress that recent wars and conflicts has caused to our service members. Please reach out if you need help and are dealing with mental health issues. Sigma Chi has the Reach Out app that has a lot of great resources. Third, I love you, brother. Enjoy your day. You earned it. In hoc signo vinces.
Thank you so much for your words, Brother Dunning. Brothers, I want to thank you for your participation in today's webinar so much. This was such a great conversation. You all are an inspiration, and we are thankful so much for your service. This brings us to the end of the first installment of Recognizing Military SIG's Signature Speaker Series event, hosted by the Sigma Chi Fraternity's Alumni Learning Consortium. We hope you've been inspired, as I am, by the incredible stories and insights shared by our military Sigma Chi brothers. Before we go, we'd like to express our gratitude to these extraordinary individuals for their dedication to both their fraternity and their military service. If you've enjoyed this event, please click the share button to share this Signature Speakers event with your friends and fellow Sigma Chi brothers, as well as anyone who values stories of leadership, sacrifice, and the enduring power of our brotherhood. Remember, the bonds formed through Sigma Chi are not just for 4 years, but for a lifetime, and they continue to shape the lives of our brothers in remarkable ways. Join us for part 2 of this 4-part series on Tuesday, November 14th at 8:00 p.m. EST for a live stream called The Next Generation Military SIGs, where I'll be joined by Joseph Cruz, University of Texas, Kingsville 2024, Giovanni Troiano, Western Connecticut 2024, and Colonel Walter Cooner, United States Air Force retired, Emory 1974. During this interview, we will meet with current undergraduates and recent alumni about their decision to commit to military service. And on Monday, November 20th at 8:00 p.m. EST, we will be joined by Brother Andrew Crossan, Western Illinois 1995, for Transformational Leadership in Action, a conversation with General Merrill A. McPeak, United States Air Force retired, San Diego State, 1957. During his military career, he achieved the rank of a 4-star general and chief of staff to the United States Air Force. This will be an interview you will not want to miss. Finally, mark your calendars for our final part of this series, Brothers in Arms, Military Leaders Panel, on Wednesday, November 29th at 8 o'clock p.m. EST, where we're joined by Commander Steve Larson, Iowa State, 1975, U.S. Navy, retired, Major General George Lampy, Pittsburgh State, 1965, Brigadier General Michael Aguilar, USMC, retired, Cal State, Long Beach, 1972, and Brigadier General James J. Burks, United States Air Force, retired, Furman, 1989. These military SIGs work their way up and are among the highest ranked Sigma Chi brothers in the military. You will not want to miss this. Thank you again so much for joining us, and happy Veterans Day.